Get ready to witness the human impact of global disasters through these historical pictures. Deadly diseases, wildfires, floods, and more, and the resilience that shines through. Postmortem portrait of a woman who died from lupus vulgaris in 1895. Generations of inbreeding can give rise to congenital birth defects, which include drastic facial asymmetry. Smallpox is caused by the variola virus, which spreads through skin-to-skin contact, bodily fluids, and even through the air. Leah Stavenhagen, 29, who has been living with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis for 2 years, poses for an interview in Paris on May 5, 2022. In her effort to raise awareness about the disease, she published a book titled "I Would Like to Dance Again." In 1914, feminists fought for the right to forget childbirth. Drowned sailors in the waters of the Pacific, fighting against sunburn, dehydration, while encircled by sharks. The predators came to the scene from miles around. A frenzy followed for the ever-hungry sharks, attracted by the countless dead bodies, and later they started attacking the survivors, of which many were in the water. William Powell, a 31-year-old computer programmer paralyzed from the neck down since 1968, receives assistance from his specially trained Capuchin monkey, Crystal. For over a year, Powell has been working on training monkeys to help quadriplegics, demonstrating the potential of animal-assisted therapy for people with severe disabilities. One of the questionable methods they use to treat hysteria and mental health problems. A young boy who was suffering from a hibernoma. This is a rare benign tumor of brown fat cells, which represents around 1% of all tumors of fat. It is often found on the thigh, head, and neck of young adults and can grow up to 20 centimeters in size. Vietnam veterans hold a silent march down Pennsylvania Avenue past the White House on April 22nd. The veterans have been holding a week-long series of demonstrations against the war. Tibbles, a cat, displays the typical symptoms of feline flu, including mucus pouring from the eyes and nose, listlessness, sneezing, and bad breath, on 19th of February, 1949. The image highlights the common signs of this illness in cats, which was a cause of concern for pet owners at the time. This photo was originally published in Picture Post under the title, "Our Cat Has Flu." The Sahel region of Burkina Faso is grappling with a devastating drought that has left many victims too frail to combat an emerging cholera epidemic. The combined effects of the drought and the disease are putting immense pressure on the community, exacerbating the already dire situation. The region faces a growing humanitarian crisis with limited resources to address the urgent needs of the affected population. 1960. American Jimmy Bryan, 3-time national champion and 1958 Indy 500 winner, dies in Longhorn 100-mile race. A middle-aged man from the 1960s is seen with an angry, painful expression holding his hand to the side of his head. His face conveys distress, possibly from a severe headache or intense pain. The image captures the anguish of the moment, reflecting the physical and emotional toll of his condition. In the China Basin neighborhood of San Francisco, a homeless woman in a wheelchair holds a sign asking for help as 2 young women hurry past. The image highlights the stark contrast between the struggles of the woman and the hurried pace of passers-by, shedding light on the growing issue of homelessness in the city. Raymond Kurzweil, 38, inventor and advocate for technology to improve the lives of people with disabilities, sits at his desk in Waltham, Massachusetts. Known for pioneering advancements in artificial intelligence, Kurzweil created the first machine in 1976 that scans printed pages and reads aloud to the blind, demonstrating his commitment to making high technology accessible for human needs. In 1992, June and Jim Hawkins are seen with their son Larry, an AIDS patient at the Bailey Boucher House in Seattle, the first AIDS hospice in America. As Larry struggled with the effects of AIDS, his parents cared for him during his final months. June, reflecting on the painful experience, shared her deep sorrow, acknowledging the unnaturalness of outliving her child, while also expressing comfort in the hospice, which felt like home to them. The wooden Canadian Northern Railway bridge collapsed March 4, 1912, when wheels of rear truck, the sleeper Kipling on southbound train to Regina, jumped the track at the switch and swung wide, hitting a pillar of the bridge. The first span and the sleeper crashed to the ice, injuring 12 passengers. A disabled man in a wheelchair rolls past an American soldier on patrol along the Green Line in Mogadishu during the Somali Civil War. The conflict, which began in the 1980s, led to widespread famine and violence, prompting U.S. troops to enter Somalia in December 1992 as part of Operation Restore Hope. On 9/11/2001, a haunting close-up of the 107th and 106th floors of the North Tower, the twin towers of people screaming to be saved. Trong Thi Thu kisses her daughter, Trong Thi Kiev, 17, who is blind and deaf due to spina bifida in Cam Lo, Quang Tri Province, Vietnam. As a single mother, Trong struggles to care for her severely handicapped daughter while working to make ends meet. She also lost her first child to birth defects caused by Agent Orange, a toxic defoliant used by the U.S. military during the Vietnam War. This legacy of chemical exposure continues to affect many families, with thousands of children born with severe birth defects. Alvaro Gomez, a Nicaraguan war veteran, displays the prosthetic leg he uses after losing his own to a projectile during the 1980s conflict between Sandinista supporters and counter-revolutionaries. Gomez, now living in the Monimbo neighborhood in Masaya, Nicaragua, shared his story during an interview on July 4, 2018. The country is once again facing violence, with his son killed in recent protests against President Daniel Ortega, marking a tragic return to the horrors of past civil wars. A Syrian amputee walks past a Syrian Arab Red Crescent truck after a humanitarian convoy delivered food aid to the rebel-held town of Douma in eastern Ceuta on March 15, 2018. Douma, the largest town in the area, has been under intense government attack for a month as forces target the opposition's dwindling enclave on the outskirts of Damascus, exacerbating the suffering of its civilians. Syrian amputees, who were disabled by the ongoing conflict, participate in a football match organized by a physical therapy center in Idlib, the last province outside government control, on January 15, 2018. Over the past month, a physiotherapy center in northwest Idlib has been training 19 war-wounded men and boys to form a football team, offering them a chance to rehabilitate both physically and emotionally amidst the harsh realities of war. Victims of a severe drought in the Sahel region of Burkina Faso are too weak to combat a cholera outbreak that has begun to spread. The ongoing drought has left people vulnerable, with malnutrition making it difficult for them to fight the epidemic. This image highlights the compounded challenges faced by the affected population. A baby suffering from severe malaria sleeps in the pediatric ward of Mtendere Mission Hospital in Chirundu, a town on the Zambia-Zimbabwe border. The area, a key transit point for truckers, faces high congestion and is a hotspot for HIV/AIDS transmission. The hospital frequently treats malaria, HIV, and related conditions among both locals and travelers. In January 1990, mentally handicapped children also suffering from AIDS and hepatitis B are seen in Plătăiești Hospital, known as the Children's Auschwitz in Bucharest. This institution was one of the many government-run facilities discovered after the fall of Nicolae Ceausescu's dictatorship, revealing the brutal conditions in which vulnerable children were left to suffer from neglect and abuse. The shocking discovery highlighted the widespread human rights violations within Romania's orphanages during that era. A Vietnam War veteran, seated in a wheelchair, reflects on the past while visiting the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C. The somber moment captures the emotional connection veterans have with the memorial, a place honoring those who served and lost their lives during the war. It also highlights the lasting impact the conflict had on those who returned home. The hydrogen-filled Zeppelin caught fire and crashed in Lakehurst, New Jersey on May 6, 1937. The disaster was captured by waiting photographers, film crews, and a radio broadcaster on the ground, making it one of history's most iconic air accidents. In the 1970s, UNICEF initiated a project to dig deep wells in villages across the Ganges Delta to eradicate waterborne diseases. However, it was later discovered that the aquifers contained arsenic, a toxic element carried by the Ganges from the Himalayas. This contamination now affects nearly 100 million people, with many suffering from skin deformities, and excessive arsenic exposure can lead to cancer. Lolita, suffering from severe arsenicosis, displays the discoloration caused by arsenic poisoning. In the 1970s, UNICEF initiated a project to dig deep wells across the Ganges Delta to combat waterborne diseases. However, it was later discovered that the aquifers also contained arsenic, a toxic element from the Himalayas. This has poisoned nearly 100 million people, leading to skin deformities and increasing the risk of cancer due to prolonged exposure. The palms of a woman's hands display melanosis, a consequence of extreme arsenic poisoning. In the 1970s, UNICEF dug deep wells across the Ganges Delta to prevent waterborne diseases. However, it was later discovered that the aquifers contained arsenic, which is now poisoning nearly 100 million people. Despite the health risks, many continue drinking the contaminated water, leading to skin deformities and an increased risk of cancer from prolonged exposure. The wooden lifeboat, the last to be cast off from the doomed passenger ship, the Titanic, was spotted in the Atlantic some 200 miles from the wreck site by crew on board the passing RMS Oceanic on May 13, 1912. Tracy Anderson wheels her baby sister Kristen past supporters of Terry Scavo outside the hospice in Pinellas Park, Florida on March 24, 2005. Tracy shared that her sister, who became disabled after suffering from viral encephalitis in 1976, had returned from a 6-month coma. A Florida court had recently refused to hear arguments regarding the reinsertion of Scavo's feeding tube amid intense debate over her medical care. Nguyen The Hong Van, 13, suffers from skin disorders and mental disabilities due to exposure to Agent Orange near Da Nang Airport. Decades after the Vietnam War, the effects of the herbicide continue to harm thousands of children in affected areas. The U.S. military's use of Agent Orange during the war has caused lasting health issues for millions, with ongoing efforts to clean up the contamination. Children at the Ba Vi orphanage in Vietnam suffer from the long-lasting effects of Agent Orange. Many were abandoned due to severe disabilities caused by the toxic herbicide. The legacy of Agent Orange continues to affect generations, with minimal government support and ongoing environmental cleanup efforts. In the Ganges Delta, arsenic contamination in deep wells has caused severe health issues. The discoloration of the whites of the eyes is a visible symptom of arsenicosis, a disease linked to prolonged arsenic exposure. Despite awareness, millions continue to drink the contaminated water, risking cancer and other severe health complications. This photo essay follows Gregory, a 26-year-old man who fought against advanced testicular cancer that had metastasized to his lungs and liver. Despite the delayed diagnosis, Gregory's strong will, support from his family and a girlfriend, and the dedicated medical care from Gustav Rusi Institute helped him overcome the disease. His story highlights the physical and mental hardships of battling cancer and the importance of love and moral strength in the healing process. Nicaraguan Alvaro Gomez shows the prosthesis of his leg, which he lost due to the impact of a projectile during the war between Sandinista supporters and counter-revolutionaries in the 80s. During an interview with AFP at Monimbo neighborhood in Masaya, Nicaragua, on July 4, 2018. Gomez's son was shot dead past April 21st during protests against the government of Daniel Ortega as part of a wave of violence which has left over 230 people killed in almost 3 months. Nicaragua is reliving the horror of the 1970s and the 1980s civil wars. This image shows a 51-year-old woman suffering from severe tooth decay and gum disease. Her condition highlights the consequences of poor oral hygiene, lack of dental care, and the long-term effects on both appearance and health. Gum disease and tooth decay can lead to further complications if not addressed, including tooth loss and increased risk of other health issues. This image depicts a woman lying in a hospital bed under a mosquito net at an ESI hospital in New Delhi, suffering from dengue fever. The mosquito net is used to protect against further mosquito bites, as dengue is transmitted by mosquitoes. Dengue fever causes high fever, severe headaches, and pain, often requiring hospitalization for treatment and recovery. Mr. Ilias shows his carcinoma to a doctor during a weekly clinic for arsenic-related health issues in the Ganges Delta. The region where deep wells were drilled in the 1970s to combat waterborne diseases is now suffering from arsenic poisoning, causing severe health problems, including cancer. Despite awareness, millions continue to drink contaminated water, unable to avoid the toxic effects. In Swaropnagar, a man near death reveals a large cancerous growth on his foot, a consequence of arsenic poisoning. The widespread contamination resulting from deep wells drilled in the 1970s has led to severe health issues for millions in the Ganges Delta. Despite the awareness of arsenic's dangers, many continue to drink the poisoned water, leading to cancer and other deformities. Turkish soldiers assist ill individuals trapped in eastern Turkey due to harsh weather and transportation conditions. With roads closed due to blizzards and snow, military helicopters were deployed to evacuate those in need of urgent care. Among the patients transported was Vahide Donor, who was about to give birth, ensuring she received timely medical attention. Participants dressed as zombies take part in the annual Zombies Walk in Edmonton, a celebration of horror, costumes, and macabre culture. The event, featuring a diverse array of gruesome costumes and makeup, attracts horror fans who march through the streets, mimicking the movements of the undead. This spooky parade, often held during the Halloween season, brings together enthusiasts of the living dead, cosplay, and horror movies for a thrilling, terrifying spectacle. ABC sportscaster Deuces Rogers shares his journey with students at Rupert Elementary School on Monday, May 2, 2016. During his visit, Rogers tells his story, offering inspiration and insight into his career in sports broadcasting. The event gave students a chance to interact with a local media figure and learn about the world of sports journalism. 26 March 2019, Madagascar, Ambalavao. A nurse at the Ambalavao Health Center in southern Madagascar examines Sarobadi, a 6-month-old boy suffering from measles. With only about half of all children vaccinated, Madagascar is facing one of the world's largest measles outbreaks, resulting in thousands of deaths and highlighting the devastating consequences of inadequate vaccination coverage. One of the last propaganda posters to raise funds for the care of children with polio, promoted by Don Carlo Gnocchi, Italy, Milan, 1954. The illustration shows a child hiding shyly behind a large crutch. A few years later, the discovery of the anti-polio vaccine shifted the focus of such campaigns towards promoting vaccination, ultimately leading to the eradication of the disease. Truman Capote, the renowned American author, is seen on the set of the 1976 comedy film Murder by Death. Known for his literary works like In Cold Blood and Breakfast at Tiffany's, Capote made a cameo appearance in this film, which was a parody of classic murder mystery tales. The body of Reverend Clementa Pinckney is carried into Emmanuel African Methodist Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. Reverend Pinckney, along with 8 others, was tragically murdered in the church by Dylan Roof, a self-declared white supremacist, on June 17, 2015. This image captures the somber moment as the community gathers to mourn and honor the lives lost in the racially motivated attack. An old, weathered piano stands in the midst of an abandoned and demolished building, its keys untouched and silent. The surrounding ruins create an eerie atmosphere with broken walls and debris scattered around the piano, highlighting the contrast between the once vibrant music and the current desolation. This haunting image evokes a sense of forgotten history and lost melodies. An illustration depicting the catastrophic Johnstown flood of 1889, focusing on the floods inundating Elm Street. The scene captures the immense devastation as water from the South Fork Dam, which had failed due to heavy rainfall, crashes through the town. Buildings are submerged, and debris is swept away by the massive flow, portraying the tragic loss of life and property. The artwork, drawn in the style of the late 19th century, serves as a haunting reminder of the disaster that claimed over 2,200 lives. People clear the mud out of their homes in Chaponnet, near Lyon, on June 8, 2018, following a heavy rainstorm that caused flash floods in the region. Over the past 12 days, rescue services have responded 7,900 times across France, as thunderstorms unleashed record rainfall. Météo France reported nearly 182,000 lightning strikes in May, nearly double the previous record for the month. Flames from the Thomas Fire burn in the hills above Carpinteria, California on December 11, 2017. The Thomas Fire, which has consumed over 230,000 acres in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties, became the 5th largest fire in California's history. A dog floats on a piece of tank in a flooded area of Cali, Colombia on May 13, 2017, after heavy rains caused the Cauca River to overflow. Flooding and mudslides in Colombia have killed several people and affected thousands, further compounding the devastation from recent mudslides that claimed hundreds of lives. Rain clouds move over downtown Los Angeles, California on January 12, 2017. A series of storms that have rolled across California in the past week, dumping heavy rain and snow, could herald the end of a punishing historic drought, officials said. Banda Aceh, Indonesia. A file photo dated January 11, 2005, shows an Acehnese woman standing amidst the ruins of her home in downtown Banda Aceh, a month after a powerful tsunami struck the region on December 26, 2004, following a submarine earthquake. The disaster left 228,429 people dead or missing. In response to another seismic event, Sri Lankan authorities issued a tsunami warning and called for coastal evacuations after an 8.2 Richter earthquake struck off the coast of Indonesia's Sumatra on March 28, 2005.